All right, I'll go ahead and got the recording going.
Hi, everyone. This is Felicity Joy, and I'm really excited to present Doug Starks. I've been working with him for almost a year, and it really made a difference in my business in 2016. We saw a lot of new people come into the Mashup and take the Before You Quit classes. So I asked Doug to share with him some of these multi-channel marketing techniques, as a lot of network marketers are interested in how they can do their business online. So I just want to recommend Doug to you and say that I really enjoy about him the way that he stays on top of the latest that's going on in these arenas so that you don't have to. So I know we're going to learn a lot today. Take it away, Doug.
All right, thanks very much, Felicity. Appreciate that. Yeah, great working with you and helping you grow your business with some various technologies that we're getting out to your group. And what I'm going to talk about today, you can use. I've got it kind of geared towards MLM in particular, but also SMB for small business. So it can be applied if there's anybody watching in the group that has a small business of any sort too. Excuse me. This all can apply to that. But what I'm going to show everybody today on the training and the webinar is basically how to get more leads, how to get more customers, and eliminate the yield cold calling, that a lot of salespeople do and business people do, trying to get new business. And then I'm going to show you how you can automate the whole process. That I'm going to show you and reduce your sales and marketing time really down from 6 to 8 hours a day just to about an hour a day, using some automation techniques. So kind of just give you a quick background. A lot of you already know me, but some of you may not. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of my experience. Have about 25 years now, I think going on 26 years experience, getting older, of sales marketing management. Experience in several different forms of advertising, including traditional and digital advertising, and been doing online marketing specifically full-time for about the last 6 years. And then, as I mentioned, automation. I've been using a lot of automation software to reach out to prospects to stop the need to cold call. I really I can do it. I used to do it for years, for really about 20 some years, and really don't do a lot of that. I've got different things set up, funnels and automation that allows me to let prospects come directly to me, which saves me a lot of time. And some of the things I'm going to cover with you on the training, why most salespeople stop calling on their prospects after the one call or email, and why a multi-channel, multi-touch approach is really going to work best for your business. I'm going to share a study with you all on how a multi-channel approach will help you increase your sales. Talk about a 3-step system that I'm using daily to close several clients each and every month. Show you how to combine a series of emails, texts, and phone calls all together to help you close more sales and more deals. I'm going to talk about the type of messages that you can send out to people to get people to call you back, your prospects to call you back. How effectively to use follow-up phone calls if you send out a prospecting email to your prospects to get your prospects to sign up for your appointments. And then I've got 5 ultimate qualifier questions I use on most of my sales calls that I use to close several big ticket sales every month. So tell me if this all sounds familiar to you. Felicity, let me know if any of these sound familiar. Don't have enough leads. You don't have enough customers. You hate cold calling, which I don't mind. At first, I didn't appreciate the process. You're too busy, and your team isn't consistent. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, that sounds like what the network marketers deal with, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially number 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nobody in general likes to cold call. Definitely see a lot of people in the chat talking about not wanting to cold call and always wanting more customers. Appreciate everybody joining in the conversation. So what I'm going to share with you is a simple solution. And what it's really the KISS, Felicity, you ever heard of the KISS principle? Keep it simple, stupid. So, that's kind of what I attest to. And it's really just simply get a lot of leads, initiate contact, always continuously follow up, and you will get more customers. It's really as simple as that. And yep. And have you ever heard Felicity, the fortunes in the follow-up? Have you heard that expression? Yep. Yes. Yep. That's very important to follow up, and most people aren't doing that. And some stats to show you that in sales, 48% of people never follow up. 25, yeah, it's pretty shocking. 25% of people only try twice and quit. 12% of sales people only make more than 3 contacts, or make more than 3 contacts. So people are just basically picking up the phone. Excuse me. If they don't get anybody on the call, take a quick drink. Don't get somebody. Maybe they get a gatekeeper, or they don't find out who they should talk to. They just stop. Or if they do talk to somebody and they say, I'm not interested, they don't, take it to the next step, say, oh, can I call you back, next week? They basically just stop. If they don't get anybody, they just don't bother to follow up. And here's just a chart showing everybody, graphically, what that looks like. 48% never follow up. 25% only make 2 attempts. Excuse me, 12% only make 3 or more. And here's a interesting study I found that was conducted by Baylor University. A sales team made a total of about 6,300 phone calls, and 100% cold calls, 6,200 to be exact, 64 calls. They had a 72% rejection rate. So that's one reason why nobody likes to make cold calls, because of rejection. They're afraid people are going to slam the phone down or yell at you. So they got a 72% rejection rate, 28% warm rate. And can you guess, Felicity, how many appointments were made out of almost 6,300 cold calls?
5%.
Pretty close, about 19 appointments. The conversion rate was only about 0.3%. So that just tells you it's hard. If that's what all you're doing is making cold calls. Dr. James Oldroyd is a researcher, fellow researcher at MIT and data analyst for Info USA. He conducted some tests over years, included that a multi-channel approach, ideally of 8 to 12 contacts, should be your optimal strategy. And this is over a 14-day period. And so he looked at, what should salespeople be doing? What should small business owners, what should MLMs, network marketers do to be effective? And you really need to make several attempts over, about a 2-week period to make things work. And effective multi-channel campaigns, these are some numbers that I've achieved: 90% open rates, 52% email response rates, 40% return voicemails, and 20% SMS, which are text message, if I can say the word, text messages that get sent out, lead opt-ins. And I use what I call a 3-step prospecting system to achieve some of those numbers. And 3 steps: number 1, and you could plus or minus these numbers. I tend to about double, triple what you're seeing number of leads here, because I'm using automation. but start with at least a couple hundred leads, say 500 if you can. Send out emails to your leads, and then send out a text and follow up with a phone call. And that's what we call the multi-channel, multi-communications, multiple communications across different platforms. And then 3, you want to do some qualifications on your calls and only work with the prospects that meet your qualifications and are interested, because that's really, really important that you do the qualifying. Otherwise, you're talking to a lot of people. And I don't know if when you're talking to people and you're coaching business, Felicity, you get a sense that they're not interested, and why spend another hour or two trying to get them to buy from you or take your coaching course or whatnot if they're not interested. You
when you
really
say
do that.
Follow up with a phone call, you mean follow up with those who've responded to either the email or text, or you're calling all 500 again?
You can use a process. I mean, you could start with the email and then just call back. I'm going to talk about like open emails. So you can start with say 500 emails, send them out, and a good way to do that with follow-ups is just look at the ones that opened your emails. You can look at free techniques. I'm using a whole system, but there's several free apps or even like Chrome extensions that'll show you who opened your email,
Right.
when they opened it. So ideally, if you send out 500 emails and then you can see if they open them, that's the perfect opportunity right there, to pick up the phone call, because those are considered what I consider warm leads, because they've at least taken that interest, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people get 100 or, a couple hundred emails, depending on what they do and how busy they are. A lot of people, don't even take the time to look at the subject line. If they do, they just move on, so that's what I always recommend. So let's talk about prospecting emails. And what prospecting emails are the emails that you're sending to the people that you've never talked to them, you've had no connection with or no relationship. And you can find email addresses. If you go, say, google.com or Yellow Pages, that was a good way to go and look for new businesses. If you're in an MLM business, you might just go to Google and type in Mary Kay. If you have a beauty and fashion type of MLM direct selling company, you might type in Avon. You might just type in whatever into Google, because a great way to, if you found out if this rings true for you, shut that off real quick. Sorry. A good way to reach out and find prospects in MLM businesses is to talk to people who are in MLM businesses. So they're familiar with direct selling. So if you type in, say Amway Chicago into Google, you might, I've done it. So you'll come up with probably hundreds of people that are doing Amway, in some form or fashion. If you want to just look out to the internet for leads. And if you found that, people that are in businesses, Felicity, that are in network marketing business, they have more success reaching out to other MLM people.
I think it makes sense based on the number of people I know that do more than one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Or maybe they're just, I say that in general, but I mean, it could be anybody just looking to make some extra money at first. But that's kind of what I coach or tell people that want to either start or increase their network marketing business. So the purpose of that prospecting email that you send out to these new leads is to really generate interest and acquire brand new clients. And the goal of the emails is get that reader to open the email and read your content, and ideally, pick up the phone and call you back so you can make a sale. And what I always tell people, write this down. Emails will not sell your services. So do not, and this is something I see several times a week from people that I coach or I that are my customers or even prospects I talk to. They say, well, I sent out 100 emails. Why didn't anybody, get back to me? Well, let me look at your email. And I look at their emails, and they've got, they're telling a whole story. They're writing a mini book, basically. Gone with the Wind, large, big screen or big book, Bible-sized email.
Mm-hmm.
And that, or they might have a fairly short email, but they're trying to sell themselves or their company, in the email. And what you really that's what you really do not want to do. You don't want to sell. What you want to be doing is the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. You don't expect people in an email that, especially that first email, to just whip out their credit card and buy from you. And I always say whoever can make the sale, so it's all about you and just basically getting people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
You're establishing a connection, with the prospect. You're warming up to your cold calls that you're going to follow up with and generate an interest in your product or service. And short and sweet. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. And then subject lines, 33%. I don't know if you knew this or anybody else seeing this. 33% of email recipients open their emails based just on the subject line. And I always say, no matter what type of email that you're sending, your subject lines, you really want to make them pop. You want to keep it short and simple. And then some elements of the emails, you want to keep them to about 50 characters or less. One email marketing company found that longer subject lines really have lower open rates than those with shorter lines. So about 50 characters or less. Emails ideally that have 28 to 39 characters in the subject line, they've been found, to get the highest open rates. And then controversy and shock value, if you could throw just a little bit in there, and here's two examples I like to show people. Of the two you see down below there, Felicity, what of the two, which do you think is the best one?
Let's see. I guess the one on the left, again, has that shock value and just sticks in your mind a little better.
Yeah, you could say that. I tend to like the one on the right because it's got a little bit of shock value because you're talking about stealing your competitors, and it's got a number, and I'll here just in a second I'll explain why numbers are good to have. So it's got a couple things going for it, and then talk about numbers. I don't know if you were like me. I was a big David Letterman fan. I don't know if you were a Letterman or a Johnny Carson, or then Jay Leno.
I was a go to bed early type of girl, but I know about his top 10 list.
Yeah. Yep. Now understand, high school, well, in general, now especially, I don't stay up for it, but I used to always tape David Letterman and watch the next day. But his top 10 lists were always something I enjoyed. And, that's something when you're writing your subject lines, anytime you can have a list and numbers, those really draw people's attention. An example, there's 5 ways top PR companies generate more leads. If you can have something with a number like that, your subject line, it's really going to stand out. And then anytime you can have scarcity, like last chance, ends today, 48 hours, it's going to be really good. Limited time offer, only a few left, buy today only, those sort of things seem to be very effective. And then the bodies of your emails or greetings, you want to, again, keep it fairly short and just include a reason why you're communicating with your prospects. It's great if you can outline a problem and solution, and very important. The most important, I think, is the call to action. Because if you just don't have a call to action, what's your prospect going to do? They're not going to do anything, and you want them to do something. So whether it's schedule interview, set up a free consultation, get more information. It could be, maybe not talking to you, but maybe it's visit our website even, or ideally go here and put your name and email in, so you can build a list. Would be the best thing to do, short of making an appointment to talk about. And then so that's email. So let's talk about text messages. So that's the kind of the second thing in the multi-channel, multi-step approach. Again, keeping it very simple, and my typical emails that I get the best response, and it's very similar to the text messages when I send multi-channel messages out is something like an email. Are you taking on new customers? From and maybe for an MLM, it could be, are you happy with your current number of customers? Are you adding to your downline? Might be something you could ask in a short email. And then what I do with text message is I send out, and you could do this with the couple 500 emails after you send the emails out. You can just do that with your cell phone, even just grab it and start sending texts. If you've got, hopefully you've got your prospect's cell phone number, you'll see a huge response compared to not doing this. If you can immediately, a few minutes after you send an email, send someone a text and say, hey, I'm just refer to your email. As you can see here, I sent you an email. I thought I'd also send you a quick text too. Wanted to see if you could take on some extra customers. If so, give me a call back. So people really, I know before I got into doing a lot of this myself, a number of years ago, somebody did this to me, and it perked my interest. Like, wow, this guy took the time to not only send me an email, but he sent me a text.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't normally see that, do you?
No.
Yeah, more. It's usually one or the other, right?
Oh yeah, and I don't get a ton of text marketing, so.
Yeah, or I mean, even just somebody just texting you,
Right.
Facebook message.
Yes.
It could be a Facebook message, and that's like right after the email goes out. But maybe somebody just texted you. I think that really stood out. And here's what I call my marketing 1-2 punch. Pick an industry to target. Number one, send out about 50 emails a day to your leads in that target, and then follow up the email with a phone call. And then what you're doing, that's going to warm it up, because you can say, hey, Mr. Prospect, or whoever you're going after, I sent you an email yesterday, so I thought I'd just pick up the phone and see if you got that. Did you get that email? So you're not just picking up the phone and making a cold call. Then it is a new call, but when you reference that email, that really warms things up, and you're going to get a lot better response if you do this. And then talked about qualifying leads. I always say if people have a pulse, doesn't mean that you can sell anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard this, a good salesperson, usually they say if you talk to 15 decision makers in a day, only 5 should qualify, and those are the ones that you really want to pitch and work with. So like we said at the beginning, if you're talking to lots of people, you don't want to spin your wheels, as they say, and not do much with, or waste your time talking to people that aren't qualified or aren't interested.
Right.
If people show interest, then those are the people you want to spend more time with. So, and these are what I call my my best qualifying. This is the main things I use on a daily basis that really helps me qualify people. And you can kind of put a spin to this depending on, what network marketing company or what small business that you're doing. But I ask, are you the right person? You want to find out who's the real decision maker. That's important. If for an MLM, a lot of families, husband and wives, do it. And, so you might pick up the phone and talk to a lady, and it's actually her husband that makes the decisions. Maybe they work together, but the husband's the real decision maker. They're working together in a, could be Amway, for instance, and one person makes the final decision. So you want to talk to them, find out who that person is. What's your average ticket per customer? It's a great question. What's your average profit per ticket? How many customers can you handle next week? If I showed you a 3 or 4 time return on your investment, can you make a $2,000 investment in your business right now? And that's really going to be some key questions I ask, because if you ask these questions at the beginning and then you go through, say, a presentation for 20 minutes or half hour, you can always go back to these questions. So let me when you pitch at the end and maybe sell something, you're basically can use these questions to have your prospect basically sell the product, sell themselves the product or service.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can go back and say, okay, wait a minute, let's see here. You said your average ticket's $500, your profits, say $250, $300. The point is, if you're going to sell them something for, a couple $100, and they're profiting, $1,000, and then you can show them, well, see, you've got plenty of money to do that. And if I can get you 3 or 4 extra customers, then not only did it pay for itself, then, see, you're going to get at least a 2 to 3 time return on your investment. So you're kind of helping them walk through that decision-making process by asking these questions. So this all sounds great, looks great, but this all, looks like a lot of time involved. Do I have a solution to speed this all up?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is yes, I do. This is something that I've been using for a while, and let me just see if there's any questions. Kind of gone through a lot of the meat of the training. Let me just see. Do you have any questions while I'm going through the FAQ and the Q&A here, Felicity?
Well, yeah, I'm interested to see about the lead prospector pro, because that's the issues, putting in all those emails and phone numbers. And then, of course, there's the different creating the emails and the texts and, how does that all work? So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, someone's asking about phone calls. How many should I make? And that really depends on the person. Depends on how many emails you send out. If you send out 100 emails, ideally want to call back ideally the ones that opened your email, because those, as we talked about, are going to be your your hottest customer or potential customer. So I recommend that. People are asking some things that I'm going to get into about voice drops, which is technology that I'm going to talk about. That's direct to cell phone technology, so I'll touch on that here in a second. Let me look, see if there's any other questions. Okay. All right. So let me just jump right into the software. So what you want to start with is unlimited leads. So first step is, and I'll show you the process here, is find new leads, and you can export them right into the system. Let me just jump out and show you something. I think I have it down here. This is something I use on a daily basis. Is a scraper. And we talked about, you could do this manually. Like I described, everything that I've talked to you guys about up to this point, you can all do without software. And you could use, send out each email individually. You can,
right.
Yeah, you can text individually. You can call, with your cell phone or your regular phone. And then you could go to Google, like I said, and just type in, say Amway or Avon, Mary Kay, Chicago, and up comes a bunch of leads that you can go through and probably end up spending a couple hours at least, putting all the leads into a spreadsheet. And I've got a tool where I've automated that, so instead of doing that manually, I'm just going to put in, and this is what I call a web scraper. It's going to do that same thing, but it's going to reach out kind of like a robot and do it for you. So I'm going to put in Amway Chicago, hit the search button. You'll see what happens. And I've done this same sort of thing several times, and basically it'll pull hundreds or thousands of leads, depending on what you're going after. And what's great about going after other MLM companies is that, well, I think both you and I, correct me if I'm wrong, Felicity, use our cell phones as our main phone number. And I'm already just looking and seeing, because I can pick out cell phones. You're going to see probably, I would guess 70% at least, maybe higher, of all these numbers here that are coming up, excuse me, are cell phones, which you can then use to not only talk to, but you can send them a text. And then I'm going to show you here in a bit, you can actually send them a voicemail using voice drops, direct to cell phone technology. But as you can see, it's only been running for just a minute or two, and it already has 23 leads, a couple emails, and I'll stop it. And then what you can do is hit check, parse websites. So if you've got 500, if you just let it sit there for 20 minutes, you probably have a couple hundred leads. If you hit parse websites, it'll actually go into each website and get the better email and the better phone number. Because a lot of like Google or Yellow Pages, it uses like lead tracking numbers, that aren't really true phone numbers. So you can use that, get the good emails, get the good phone numbers. And so that's one way of getting, what I say, unlimited leads. Jump back. So find new leads. You can export them right into the Lead Prospector Pro system. I'll jump into the software here in a second to show you this, but that's kind of the first step. Get your leads, load them into the system. You can see the dashboard, above is pretty robust. You can do just about anything with it. I tell people, this is software that's about 10 different separate softwares that people buy and use all in one. And people are paying, excuse me, $100, $200 per system, and you can get all of it in one. I'll, at the end, kind of show you a special that I'm going to do for you guys. But this is an all-in-one solution, and it ties in with the CRM, which most do. Most people are using a dialer system, which this has. They're using maybe an emailing program. They're using a text. They've got 5 or 6 different, and then they have to then take all the leads and then put them in manually or export into a separate CRM. This does all of it in one. So load your contacts in. If you already have a list, which a lot of people do, I sell this a lot to auto dealers, and they've got thousands and thousands of people, that they have on a list already. People that either have bought a car or maybe they've got a repair, up to their car, and they use like a I'm blanking on the term, but basically a remarketing, technique to their existing customers. So they use this to reach out with an email, all automated, email, a text, and a voice drop, because they've got the numbers of everybody, so they've got all this information. So if you do have, my point is, if you already do have, a list, email list or whatever list you've got, you can import that in, so you can use the scraper, great for new prospects and find a bunch of new people to talk to, or you can just import the list right in. And then you want to set up 3 things. Email sequence first, kind of what we talked about, but again, this is all automated. You can see a series of 4 or 5 emails that you can set up. There's templates all in the system. And so once you've got the templates in, it's just a matter of a few minutes of putting the emails in. You start out up here with a contact. You set up a group, and you usually set, maybe call it cold MLM prospects, for this group. You might call it, something related to that, but cold. Put all your contacts in that you've imported into that one list, and then you're setting up this sequential set of emails. And that what's great is you only have to set this up one time, and basically it's an autoresponder system. If you guys are familiar with autoresponders, and so all 4 or 5 emails are going out, say day 1, day 3, day 4, and you want to do this over a 14-day sequence. These are all going out automatically for you. And then the second thing you could do is set up a SMS sequence. As before, I said grab your phone and send your prospect a text right after email them. But with this system, you can do that automatically. So again, you're just setting it up one time. Again, a series of, say, 3 or 4 texts. That first one you send out to go immediately out. So you just have a 0 in, which means it goes out immediately. And you can have it go out just as soon as your email goes out. So boom, your prospect gets hit with an email and a text. And then again, maybe 3 or 4 days later, or a week later, you send them another text, and you space them out over your emails with your text. And then, why is that not changing? Let me see. And then third, there we go, your voicemail. And this is something that's getting really popular these days. Let me make it bigger so you guys can see it better. The voice drops, and that's a technology. I don't know, Felicity, if you've ever got a message on your cell phone, but you didn't see anybody that called you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking to people more and more every day, that say, yeah, I got that. It's like, what's that all about? And I tell people a quick story that my realtor did it to me a couple of years ago. And I had started getting into this technology, so I knew better. But instead of the realtor, he's a successful realtor. So I know he's got hundreds or probably thousands, people on his list. Instead of him or his assistant individually picking up the phone or sending an email to invite to his pool party he does for his customers, So I got a message, on my cell phone saying, basically inviting me to a pool party, and you just don't say each person's name, but you can make it sound very personable, and it saved him hours and hours or days, calling people. And he just basically pressed a few buttons and sent out, direct to people's cell phones messages to everybody. And then I'm sure he got several people that responded back, either text back or call back or send them an email, so yeah, I'll be there, so-and-so. So great way to again, then add this to your sequence. You've sent the emails out, you've done the text, and then add this third, which is very popular. A lot of people that get this from me just do voice drops. Just this, and there's My system, Lead Prospector Pro, but a lot of people are using like a Voice Drops Plus, and or just Voice Drops system. And you could buy, you can, if you research, you can find other systems. But again, most of them are, I'd say all of them don't have, all this all tied together. So you can just do all this, and as you can see here, you're setting up that sequence that go out. So that the first one is, this is a typical voice drop that I do. And, again, very, very similar to the email and the text. It'd be like something like this. Oh, hey there. It's Doug. I missed you the other day. Thought I would just send you a quick voicemail. Just wanted to reach out to you. Just wanted to see if you're taking on new clients. If so, love to talk to you. Just give me a call back, 217-898-2427. Again, it's Doug at 217-898-2427. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Just something like that. And it sounds pretty natural, doesn't it?
Oh,
yeah. So, and imagine leaving that message on hundreds or thousands of people's cell phone. When we set this up, the sequence, especially just voice drops for auto dealers, I have to actually make sure that they have enough staff on hand, because, I say, let's set this up. So like on Tuesday and Thursday, if you send these out, in the morning, you've got an extra couple people to answer the phones, because your phone will blow up, basically, if you do this right, and you're going to get people just for the voicemails alone, just calling you back. So it's huge, really. And
very good.
And then this is just a slide showing you, we talked earlier about, sending emails out, which you can individually, and then calling people back. But here's something you can do with the system after you send your emails out. You can actually see the day, the time, and a lot of times I'll send out emails, say at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I just watch. And I just watch the list. I see all the green boxes popping up. So then, after 10 minutes or after, half hour, I'll use the phone dialer, which is included in the system. Instead of calling people individually, you can use the phone dialer, and then either each one go through and call them and say, hey, I saw, or I, just emailed you this morning, thought I'd just pick up the phone and call you really quick. Just wanted to make sure, see if you got, they got the email, but you ask, did you get the email? And they say, oh yeah. A lot of times they'll say, oh yeah, I just opened it up, or I just saw that. Tell me more about your business. So then, boom, no cold call.
Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll do that, or you could take, say, 50 or 100 of these opens and then move them into a different list, and then just hit the button basically on the phone dialer. What it'll do, instead of individually making phone calls, it will just have you talk to the people that answer their phones. So that's where in the past, years ago, when I worked for say the radio station, I'd make, say, 2 or 3 hours of phone calls just picking up the phone. So instead of doing that, it takes a lot of time. Instead of that, you can just basically hit a button and do what would take you hours, basically do it in an hour or two, with just using the phone dialer. And then you're just talking to people that it just skips past the ones that aren't picking up the phone. So if you do that, again, I've got realtors just using the phone dialer alone, because they make a lot of phone calls. So that's kind of, what you're doing is selling is easier when you, as I mentioned, you can do a 14-day automated prospecting system with 14-day sequence of emails, 14-day voicemails, and 14-day text messages. And then you can gather really warm intelligence on people, because you get what's great about the system is you get notified when people open up your email. You can have it actually send you a text or an email alert when people open up your emails. So then you can, get that text and then start calling back people that open your emails. And then also inbound calls are tracked and recorded. All of your leads, all your lead activity history is stored. So it's a complete system, and it's what I call a sales acceleration system. It's automating your prospecting activities with email, SMS, and voice drops to really boost your sales in less time. That's where I say 6 hours of prospecting or marketing in just 1 hour.
Very cool.
And so here's just a quick rundown of some of the other features of the system. Very robust. It's got a full contact lead management system, a fully customized PBX phone style system. It's got an outbound call management system and dialer. That's where we talked about using the dialing system. It's got call recording and tracking. So if you have great for say an MLM team that wants to work with their downline, for instance, and you can set up a whole team. You can have one account and you could have 100 other accounts. You could have one manager account, several system. I'm blanking on the term, but basically people under you using the system, and say you've got a new person in your downline. You can go in and listen, to their calls. You can actually go in while they're making a call and jump in if they're struggling, and say, yeah, it's someone's, it's Doug. I thought I'd just jump in and introduce myself, and then help that person close that sale. So some other features are the automated inbound data collection. That's really cool. You can actually have, instead of the usual voicemail, call me back, beep, you can actually have it set up where when people call you back, it can ask several questions. So for realtors, a lot of times I'll have it set up, and you could have this set up, call this number back or text a number back on a realtor sign out front of a house, instead of the usual. When they call back, they get a recording, or they may be a lot of some newer technology. You get an open house, pictures. With this, you can actually ask questions. So you can actually ask when people either phone in or text in a number, a series of what's your name, what kind of house are you looking for? 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. Are you?
Wow.
You can. What's your price range? So you can there again qualify, the people that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
When you call them back, you've got at least 3 or 4 bits of information. For that, you can apply this to any business, to any MLM.
Right.
That's how realtors are using the inbound call system. So so instead of the usual, just get a name and number off your recording, you're actually you're building a list, because what this does is takes that information and automatically puts it into Lead Prospector Pro for you. So it puts it right into your group list.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. And then it's got a whole SMS marketing system. So you just want to do an SMS blast, because SMS is getting popular. You can do that. You can set up the auto. It's got just sort of like an email autoresponder. As I showed you, it's got its own autoresponder system, and then the email marketing and the voice drops. So very robust. It's what I normally sell. Or I should say, normally people buy, 1 to 5 of these for $100 a piece. Spending $500 to say $1,000 on different tools. I can basically have all 10 tools for, as you can see, I'm selling at my normal price on my website. Felicity is starting at $300 a month.
Okay.
Plus a setup fee. So this is my normal price if you went to the website and you bought this. And you can start out with a professional account, team account, or enterprise. You can see all the different features on there. The professional account is for 1 user. The team, you get 1 manager account and then 3 member accounts. And then the enterprise, you get a total of 10 users. So these are my normal prices. What I'm going to do for your group is several things. I'm going to give you a special price, and this is the same price I did it at your live workshop. 97, basically $200 off. So just
Wow.
$97 a month, and I'm not going to include the $300 setup fee. So I'm going to eat that and then just do that myself. So $97. It's a system basically that has it's like sort of like renting a car. I tell people you rent the car for X number of dollars, and then what do you have to do to make the car run?
Put gas in it.
Yep, exactly. So the gas is the equivalent of the gas in the car is credits. So you buy credits down as low as 1 cent per credit, and you can get 10,000 credits for $100. So then you can use those. You don't have to use all those up. Some people use 10,000 credits or double, triple that. Some people use 10,000 credits over a couple months. So you can use the credits however you want. And what I'm going to do, what I don't normally do, is also throw in 1,000 free credits for the special webinar. So I'm going to give you 1,000 free credits. When you purchase your credit package. So on top of whatever credits you buy, I'm going to throw in an extra 1,000 free credits. So you're going to have some extra to work with, and you can see basically $97, $297, or $697. I do have yearly prices. So if anybody's interested in in buying at a yearly price, you do save even more.
Sure. Okay.
Yep, and you can see kind of the number of contacts you get. You get 2,500 contacts, 10,000 contacts, and the different systems. You get 5,000 emails. It's very inexpensive, like $5-10, or somewhere around there for extra emails, but to get an extra 5 or 10,000 more. So it's that's just part of the credit package, and you can see you get all of this included. Someone has asked about the credits and the cost. Credits, like I said, are down as little as 1 cent a credit. Typical credits for the dialing system, to use that, is about 5 cents, or 5 credits if you get the 1 cent per credit. So five credits for that, 5 credits for sending an SMS out, and the more expensive is 8 credits for the voice drops. But that's a lot more technology and a lot more power behind a voice drop message. And then what that's doing is that's pretty robust technology. That's sending a message directly onto someone's cell phone. And people ask, well, how do they do that? It's technically server to server. So it's actually sending from one server to the next. So that's how they kind of get around some of the technical issues. So low rates, basically you've got a very small, because I'm knocking off $200 a month. I sell this on my website, at least a couple, 1 or 2 a day, several times a week, people that come to the website and buy it, at the $300 price. And then I've had people ask me, well, why don't you include lots of credits with it? Well, I used to sell this for $500, $800, and include a package, but people weren't using the credits as much. So I thought, and it's helped me, and it's helped my customers. Now I've reduced it down to just a couple hundred, and in your case, $97, just a very small fee, and then you could buy the credits and use them as you need them. Instead of getting a pack 20,000, 50,000 credits that you aren't going to use and paying $500 or more for. This way you can buy as many credits you want and kind of use them as you need them. So that's what I'm going to do for everybody, and have the special price up for a couple days.
Okay.
So this is Thursday already. I'll probably have this. I'll get the webinar the replay out here shortly, but I'm thinking, Felicity, probably through the end of the day Monday, I think.
That'd be
That's what I'll
great.
do. Just I'll keep this up. That way people can can get it, make a decision over the weekend. No pressure. But I can keep these prices for you until then. And then what I'm going to do too for your group is a couple extras bonuses. If you guys can take action within that time frame, is I'm going to give you that lead scraper. I normally sell that separately for $400. So I'm going to give you that scraper, that you can use to automatically get in leads that it pulls from Google, Yellow Pages, LinkedIn. Extremely powerful piece of software that you can get a bunch of leads from. And then I'm going to give you a PDF that's going to walk you through that 14-day sequence that we talked about. And it's about a 50-page, goes step by step. You're going to also get a bunch of training videos with it too. And so if you can combine the training video, there's just a separate one that talks about the sequence. And then if you take this PDF that I created, you can set up that and that's really the power of the system, is setting up these sequences. And again, you're just setting up, taking 20 minutes. You'll get to a point where it's just taking 20 minutes to a half hour each time you set all this up, and then you could have multiple sequences going out for, if you've got multiple MLM businesses, you might have 3 to 5 different sequences, these 14-day sequences going out to different groups. So that's worth $200. And then I'm also going to give you my I call my email swipe, so you can take that and modify it, so you can basically have a set of messages that you go out, email message, voicemail message, text message that you can use. And then also going to throw in this is something I don't normally do too, but I'm going to give everybody a guarantee, 30-day guarantee. If I see you've used it and you've made effort, I'll give you your money back. I don't normally do that. Most people use it and keep using it, so it's usually not necessary, but I'm going to also do that for you guys.
Well, I see that you took a lot of my feedback on what the network marketers need to take action, so I really, really appreciate it. Appreciate all of these deals.
Yep, no problem. And I'll just real quick run through the dashboard and the features. I won't go into any detail, but the dashboard here is going to give you all kinds of stats. So I see people asking, can you see more of the software? You're going to see all your law. This is one of my newer accounts, so it doesn't have info in it, but this is where you're going to see what your activity over 7 days, 30 days, your email log, your deal status. One thing I didn't mention that's really cool and effective in this is you can set up a series of groups, and as you talk to people, you can move them from one group to the next. That's kind of where deal status. So you can track your seeing how you're progressing. So you can start out with a cold list, and then as you talk to them, move them into the warm list. And then make your calls from your warm list that are different than your cold list. And you can get a hot list, very interested list. And you could do what I call lead disposition and move. A lot of CRMs don't have this, but I have this in my system. You can move them from one list to the next depending on where you are in your funnel, basically. So you've got that. You've got the settings. This is kind of where you're setting up your system. The contacts. You can go in and this is kind of where you're setting up your group. Create that cold group, warm group, whatever you want to call them. As you can see, I've got several different lists here, and then import your list, or you can individually add contacts in, one by one if you want to as well. The team account. This is if you have, say, a team and you want to get your downline involved. Excuse me. You can see here you can have. I've got 4 or 5 on this particular account, but you can have team members. That's where you can go in and monitor, see how your team's doing. You can pull up reports, email reports on your team members. So this is going back to realtors. This is where realtors, a lot of times, a broker, you might have 10, 20, 50, depending on how big his firm is. A realtor would typically have this. He'd have a manager account and then have different member accounts, the realtors under him, so then he could see how his realtors are doing, and get a reports and see that they're progressing, especially the new realtors. And then the monitor, you can go in and see all kinds of information on your calls. Outbound, this is kind of where you're using the outbound dialer. You're sending out emails. Inbound, this is kind of where we talked about where you can set up a phone or a text system, so that people can either email, text, or call you back. And then you can set that system up to ask questions and collect information, leads. Voice drops, we talked about. It's got where you can send out individual voice drops, or you can set up an autoresponder. So, like that 14-day sequence, you can have all the voice drops go out at different days, different times. SMS, complete robust SMS system. Again, standard, or you can set up an autoresponder. Email, you can set up your email campaigns, schedule your emails. You can look at, you can set up your email templates that you can use, so you can basically set up, you don't have to retype in each individual email, have all of your emails set up on different templates. And then here again, reports, call reports, email reports. Now this is a full robust reporting system. It's even has its own calendar system. And then knowledge base, between the FAQs in the knowledge base here and all of the training videos, it's very easy to learn. Whenever you've got a question, you can either go here, and also what is great, you can actually go in, go back here. For some reason, this person's offline, but you have not only live support. I have a support team that you can get help live, as well as set up a ticket system. You can just click over here if you have a question, and they usually get back to you within, sometimes it's within hours, or within that day, or it's not going to take weeks for you to get a question answered. You're going to get it either live or within 24 to 48 hours. Any help and questions you have with the system. So, just look and see if there's any other questions you've got, Felicity, as I'm wrapping things up. We'll look and see if there's any other questions.
No, I don't have any other questions. I think that was very thorough. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you letting me talk to your group. Here's a good question. Voice drops. You get charged per voice drop, and that's a great question. Voice drops, you only get charged when they're delivered. So if you send out 1,000 voice drops, you don't get charged for all 1,000 right up front. You only get charged if you send out 1,000. You might only have maybe 200 up 400. Just depends on the the type of number it is. You only get charged for the ones that actually get delivered onto people's cell phones. Because a lot of times it just doesn't. You're not going to get 100% delivery rate, so that saves you some money. Let's see if there's other questions. How many emails can you send out? You get 5,000. Answer that is you get 5,000. You can always just use your credits to buy, for basically $4 to $6, plus or minus, to get another set of 5,000, 10,000 emails. How does the phone dialer work? We kind of went over that. That's basically putting a group a group in a list of people you want to talk to, and just pressing a button, and the phone system's going to automatically go in and have you just talk to the people that answer their phones. So you're not spending time, which I used to do, leaving. You end up spending more time leaving voicemails than you do talking to people. So it basically does all that work for you and saves you a ton of time. So if there's not any other questions, I'm going to probably wrap it up, get this replay out either today still, Felicity, to your group, or first thing tomorrow morning. Either way, I'll get the replay out as quickly as I can, and again, I'll keep the special deal. One thing I didn't do is real quick, I'll drop the link in so everybody has that. So everyone should have in the Q&A and the call box, we'll have a link to directly go in, but I'll also have it on the replay. The replay page too, a link to the page, and it's got a countdown timer basically through. I'll have it set through, like I said, through the end of the day Monday, as special, and I'll keep the prices down, $200 off through the end of. I'll do that, and then I'll include when people buy their credits. I'll include a free 1,000 credits in again through the end of the day Monday. So.
Sounds good. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no problem, Felicity. Appreciate you having me talk to your group. And if anybody has questions, seeing the replay or hearing this, just feel free to get in touch with me, and I'll try to post at least a few times to the group and remind people about the training number one, and then the special that I'm doing for you guys. So, all right.
Awesome. Well, you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, Felicity. I'll talk to you soon and talk to everybody again in the near future. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
We just turned the recording off. Hang up.
All right.